Hi, this is Jack from Alpha Charts with a stocks to watch video. Today is August 29th, 2021. Before we get started, this video is for educational purposes only. These are not recommendations to buy, sell, or hold any stock or security. And I may hold positions in some of the equities mentioned. Know your time frame and risk tolerance. Also, if you like these types of videos, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Really do appreciate that, and that does really help me out. So thank you very much for doing that. Also, you could go ahead and like this video. That probably helps me somehow with the algorithm, I'm told, and so on and so forth at YouTube. Also, find me at AlphaCharts365 on Twitter. And I do post there every day, charts and scans and my thoughts on the market. So please do that. All right. So Qs are in an uptrend. Things are looking good. Let's do stocks to watch. I have 16 actionable, 4 soon, and 2 patients. We're going to look at a few jet fuel names, and then we're going to recap last week's picks. Also, Stella's pick also. Okay, so we got that going for us. All right, let's start. First one is going to be GLBE. Let's try that one more time. GLBE. So Global E online, so big uptrend, it kind of consolidated, it broke out, kind of retest, it's holding this area. So this one I believe is actionable as long as it's above this green shaded box. It's a pretty big range, right? Pretty big range from where it's at. So know your time frame, risk tolerance, and position size accordingly. DDOG, Datadog. We talked about this one last week. It's still just consolidating up here. Moving averages are catching up. The VWAP is holding from the big gap. I mean, how nice is that to see, right? They're defending now. You can put your risk right here at the VWAP potentially, unless you want a little bit bigger. Then there's a moving average down here. But all in all, this is looking pretty darn good. So there's DDOG. Let's see. Next one is going to be Dash is on here, and here's Dash, and it's a newer IPO name, DoorDash. This has been kind of the area that I've identified as being important. If there's a VWAP handoff right here, so that's where this one takes over, and it's kind of held since. So that's kind of where the risk is. Moving averages are pretty close and tight together. This one looks pretty good. Kind of drying up the volume a little bit here. DoorDash. Next up, Celsius, CELH. So, had this big consolidation, kind of broke out, came back, gapped down. I think there was an offering here, held right here. So, we had a big, I put it right there. I should probably put this VWAP down here, actually. That makes more sense to me. Kind of held right there, broke through it, came back, reclaimed it, now moving higher. I still think this is the green area is the important area. So it may come back and retest it one more time, but it is pretty actionable above, 71, 70, 50-ish area, $70, whatever. That's CELH. EXPI is on the list this week. So EXPI, broke out, then fell back below, retested, was resistance, big move above it, came back and retested it. And I know a few weeks ago, I was talking about how wait, be patient. I did not get in here, but it was a beautiful retest. And now it is starting to look good again, right? EXPI, big move right here on earnings. So big move on earnings, retests, and now held and moving higher. That's really nice. EXPI. SI. So SI, I was really interested in it back here, and it shook me out, but the VWAP held from where? All the way back from the IPO, right? This is the VWAP from the IPO. And look how it just kind of stopped right there, moved back higher. And so at this point, I'd probably wait for the breakout here. And then you could have a place to really manage risk against. Just make sure this kind of continues through. But SI, Silvergate Capital, looks pretty good. Another one is RIOT Blockchain. It's got kind of a descending descending trend line type of thing, and it's trying to break out of it. Moving average is bullishly aligned. Some really nice accumulation going on in here, really all the way back to here. You see, as it's going down, consolidating, it's on very low volume, and the up days are on much higher volume. So that looks really, really good. That's RIOT blockchain, RIOT. Our old friend REZI is on here. So let's go to weekly. So REZI. This was one I loved a couple weeks ago, and it kind of took me out really in this week, I think, right here, but it held it, came back up, and now it's retesting this again. This potential area, again, from the IPO in 2018, going back to a daily. And as you can see, it is, right near all-time highs. Yeah, this was the area that shook me out right in here, and boom, I think I probably got out on this day right here, and it just screamed back higher. Again, it moved big, right? It's a big move right there. So love to see this make one more higher low and then break out, right? So higher low, higher low. Would love to see one more higher low, maybe retest these moving averages, clear, let them continue to catch up. That would be really nice. That's REZI, REZI. I have a bank stock on here. That's FBP, First Bank Corp. Just a really nice chart. Came up on one of my scans. You see a nice uptrend, then sideways consolidation. And now it's trying to break out to go to all-time highs again. Some really good accumulation going on in here. Looks good. FBP. Next up, MYGN, Myriad Genetics. So this one is broke out, kind of retested, and now it's kind of moving higher. Great accumulation going on in here. It's not too extended yet or anything like that. So I like this one a lot. Again, you could choose moving averages or the screen area, wherever your risk is. But Myriad Genetics, and just zooming out a little bit, here was this old trend line I put in there. Let's go to weekly to see how that looks. All right, so this was some potential area right here, maybe up here, $43, $49, $50, somewhere in here. Could be, but if you look on the weekly chart, it's just a beautiful uptrend, sideways move. Now it looks like it's just going to continue higher. That's a potential area, $45 to $50. All right, let's go back to the daily, and let's move on to XM. So XM, was pretty tight all in here, tightening up, moved higher, tried to break out here, failed, but really didn't fail that hard, didn't come all the way back down. This day is only a 1.34 day down. So again, not that bad. As far as volume goes, I guess you call this a distribution day, but it's pretty low volume in general. So it all looks pretty good. A lot of accumulation going on here overall. So I like this one, XM. Yeah, I think this one can move much higher. Next up is Unity U. So this one was a big breakout. There's your retest. It held, it moved higher. It couldn't make a new high though, right? And it rolled over a little bit, but it's holding its moving averages very nicely. They're moving higher. Everything looks pretty good. Great volume in here. So overall, I like this one. Unity Software looks real nice. SGEN. So CGEN, again, this was the area that was important. Big breakout. Now it may be coming back, trying to retest to let the moving averages catch up. So I think this gives another opportunity to get involved with this one, especially if it comes down to 165-ish. That would be a really nice, early in the week if there's a little bit of a pullback. But there's amazing accumulation going on in here. I think there's another opportunity in this one. So I think to get involved, maybe around the 165 or so, 164, 165 area. And again, great risk reward. LTHM is next. Yeah, breakout, kind of making this kind of low volume, high handle type move here. Moving averages are catching up. Everything's looking pretty good. Again, if as long as it's above $23, $24, somewhere around there, right? $23.50, $24. I think that would be that's the place to manage risk against. Again, I like how the volume's starting to dry up as it's moving sideways. We'll see what happens with this one, but nice tight risk reward here. ZI, gigantic volume coming in. And now it's kind of moving sideways, holding the VWAP. So I like to see that. Tighter action for this name where it was very loose back here. We're starting to tighten it up a little bit. Looks good. A lot of accumulation coming in there. Nice to see. So I think Z, again, this VWAP right here, that's probably where I'd manage risk against. If you want to go a little further, there's some, potential large area here. You got moving averages right around the $60 mark, just under the $60 mark. But overall, it looks like a lot of accumulation going on in this name, ZI. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, so that was it for my actionable. Here are some soon names. Palantir. It had been stuck between these two VWAPs for a couple weeks. That's really tight action. Obviously, this VWAP on the lower end was from the IPO, and the higher VWAP is from the all-time high, right? So we have all-time high and the IPO. And if you notice, price action was really pretty tight, right? Just ping-ponging right between them for the most part. And now we have a substantial break above this VWAP from the high. I think that's a big deal. Now we're very close to this area of potential supply though. So really, where can you go? If you buy in right here, 4 or 5%, hey, if that's what you want to play, go for it, right? But I'd rather see it come up here, maybe get rejected one time, let the moving averages catch up, and then a sustained breakout. And you could easily manage risk against this 27 and a quarter area right in there. So that's what I'm looking for. That's why this on soon. I think it needs a little more time to set up. But overall, unless you got it in this tight area, then you've got a pretty good position, because if you're from here, you already it goes up here, you're up 10% or so. That's Palantir, PLTR. All right, there's CDAY. So this is an important area. It looks like prices pretty steadily gone up right into it. Probably needs a breather here. So again, looking for that little pullback, maybe to this 107-ish area. And then for it to continue higher, great place to manage risk at 111. I just think it's a little bit extended. So CDAY is on my soon list, but really nice accumulation going on in this name. DKNG, DraftKings. Beautiful look. Breakout here. Now it's kind of consolidating in a fairly tight range. I mean, for it, inside day right here, not quite inside day right here, because it did exceed it right there, but the body is inside. So I see a lot of just tight action like kind of happening in here. You see good accumulation, going on since earnings. DraftKings looks really, really nice, but I can't get rid of that. But as you can see, it's a little bit extended. So I think it needs to consolidate a little bit more. And that's why it's on the soon list. XP. So XP is great looking chart. And this has been the area that's been important, $50 to $51-ish. And so now price is almost back up there. So we got to see what happens when it gets up here and how price actually, reacts. But look at this, beautiful on the up days, gigantic volume. On the down days, very small volume comparatively, right? Same thing here, like lots of accumulation going on in this name as it's basing. So that's a really nice sign. So yeah, let's see what happens when it gets up to this $50, and we'll go from there, right? DLO, just a beautiful looking chart. I'm going to say this one is in my patience list, right? So I have 2 patience names, and this is, again, I love the chart. It's holding up beautifully, right? But it's just still a little bit extended from these moving averages and so on and so forth. So I think it just needs to consolidate some more, let the moving averages catch up. But I think it's going to be a beautiful set up in the future at some point. Just needs a little bit of patience. And the other one is DOCS, Doximity. You know, it's a great move. Came back, had some kind of downgrade or something right here. You see the next day try to go down and the buyer stepped in. It's a good move right there. A little bit lower volume, but still a good move right there. But it's kind of loose at this point, right? It's kind of loose. It needs to tighten up a little bit, let the moving averages catch up, do a little price discovery. What does this downgrade really mean? What's going on with it? Again, just needs a little bit of time to really figure things out. There's a VWAP from the IPO that could be a significant area, you know, as it continues to rise higher, you know, maybe $70. I don't know. Again, just needs to tighten up. You know, I liked it in here when it was getting tight right there, big move up, and then, you know, it's now retraced. We'll see if this holds, you know, continues to hold support. Again, we'd love to see it start to move tighter in here, let these moving averages tighten up a little bit too, and then more of a sustained rally. So we'll see. Those were my two patience names. Okay. So there we go. There's 22 names. Jet fuel scan. I have 3 names on the jet fuel scan. First one is DAC, and this is a shipper, I'm told. Now look at this beautiful chart. I mean, just gigantic. Let's just go weekly. I mean, just gigantic uptrend since July or August. You know, it was $3.48. I mean, nonstop, relentless uptrend. And now it's consolidating. Lots of accumulation going on in this name. Broke out, then a nice lower volume consolidation. Moving averages are starting to catch up again. So we'd love to see this maybe, you know, 81-ish, 80 to 81. If it comes back in there, it could, you know, start its next leg higher. Again, it's a jet fuel name, so which means, you know, maybe a smaller position size because it could be maybe a little bit more volatile. And just be careful, it has a high short interest. That's DAC. GLBE was showed up on my jet fuel scan, which is also my actionable scan. So it's kind of a neat, I love when there's crossover. So GLBE has a high short interest. Not a high days to cover, to be honest, but high short interest. So that if it does break out, that potentially could fuel to a reasonably nice run moving higher. And BYSI has been on here a few weeks. I did bought it back in here somewhere. I have to look my notes to see exactly where. So it's had a beautiful move, gigantic move, right? I mean, this has been from the lows to the, you know, to the high to here, you know, 53% move. I don't have all of that because I bought it probably in here somewhere. I think on this day. Anyway, decent move. There's a VWAP from this gigantic move higher. And now it needs to probably chill out, consolidate. I'm gonna hold on to it for a little bit longer because it's not doing anything wrong, especially if it consolidates a little bit. You know, I like it as long as it's above this VWAP. You know, you see these moving averages are going to start to catch up. So we'll just watch it. If it starts to fall apart, I'll sell it. No big deal. But BYSI, definitely one to watch on the jet fuel scan. Okay, let's do a recap of last week's my top 5. So I had actually I talked about 6. MDXG was one of them, and it did amazing. You know, big 10% day. It's held up great. The reason why I didn't show up on this week's video at all was just because it was so far extended. I guess I could have put it in my patience list. You know, actually, I'll go and add it. I'm gonna add that to my patience list. MDXG. Because it's looking good, just kind of consolidating right in here. Nothing wrong with this chart. It's an amazing looking chart, so that would have been a good one to be involved with. Next one is Datadog was on there. You know, Datadog looks amazing, still looks amazing. Didn't break out or anything like that. 2, 4, 5. Yeah, it moved higher, but again, we're still waiting for this breakout. So, so it's doing everything right. It just wasn't the right time, right? Unity was on there, and this was actually Stella's pick of the week. Also, my puppy, she likes this. She liked this chart best of all. You know, so yeah, it was about flat for the week. So it didn't do much, but I kind of like the way that this is shaping up, still like the way it's shaping up. Again, timing is tough. The market is going to do what it wants to do, but this one still looks very actionable. That's Unity Software. XM was on the list last week. Again, sideways consolidation, doing nothing wrong. Still on my list of stocks I like this week. Looks good. Maybe one to watch for this week too. It's on my list. And DLO, I put this on there because it was a longer term name. Still looks absolutely amazing. Just needs a little bit more time, but looks good. I wasn't expecting this one to run last week at all. So again, these are still kind of setting up, and so we'll see what we'll see what happens, right? So let's go over the last bit. Will be my top 5 for this week, right? And there's gonna be some duplications here, right? So Datadog, right? Datadog is still my top 5 because it's still looking unbelievably beautiful, right? This is, it's tight action right here for weeks on end now. No, the seller, there are no sellers at this point. So when this breaks, it's going to move fast. All right. Above 137, I think, close above 137, and I think it's off to the races for this one, Datadog. MYGN is in this bunch, doing everything right, moving higher, beautiful accumulation. I love the drought in volume as it's pulling back all over the place here. Looks like there's a lot of people buying into this one. That's MYGN. It's one of my top 5. SGEN. Again, I love that it broke out on high volume, pulling back on lower volume. Moving averages are catching up. I think it's very actionable, especially if it pulls back just a little bit more. So we'd love to see it, maybe 165-ish, and then bounce off those moving averages and move higher. Maybe it needs another week of consolidation, but overall, I think as far as risk reward goes, and that's how I'm looking at my top 5 risk reward, I think this has pretty good. ZI, just tighter price action, right? Looking really nice. Holding the VWAP after the big move up. Moving averages are catching up nicely. So this one I think can move much higher too. I love this volume coming in, pretty amazing. ZI, and the last one, DLO is in there again because I'm not expecting, this is a patience name, I'm not expecting it to move much higher even this week, but it's got to be a top 5 looking chart at this point. Maybe next week it's going to move higher, but we'll see, right? We'll see what happens. That being said, I'm going to put a second one in here, and that's going to be Unity Software. Stella's a pretty good chart watcher. This was her favorite last week. It went sideways, just kind of a consolidation. Nothing to speak of as far as distribution going on in here. Lots of accumulation. So I think Unity Software. So again, my top 5 turns into a top 6 because I put one of my patients' names on there. And there you go. So we ended up with 23 names, 16 actionable, 4 soon, and 3 patients because I added MDXG to that patients list, as well as 3 jet fuel scan names. So lots of charts to chew on, tons of setups out there. I think breadth is improving. It's a holiday. Actually, this is not holiday shortened week, but Friday's going to be probably thin. People leaving for Labor Day, which is the next Monday. So then we'll see what happens when all the the big time money managers come back from vacation, and let's see if they put money to work and where they put it to work. So all good stuff going on there. Hope you guys like this video and have a great week. Know where your stop losses are just in case the market turns against you. It may be, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a little bit of weakness early in the week, and then, towards the end of the week, we get, a break, more of a sustained move higher, but we'll see. I have no idea. That being said, take care, like and subscribe. Appreciate all the likes and subscribes to my YouTube video. Thank you guys so much. Have a great day.